and welcome. You're watching Business Today. I'm Neetu Chandra Sharma. Alembic Pharmaceuticals has reported a 16% rise in revenue in Q2 FY26, driven by steady growth across India, the US, and international markets. We will talk about what's behind these numbers, the company's future outlook, and its future focus areas. To discuss the company's performance this quarter and its broader growth strategy, I have with me on the show G. Krishnan, Chief Financial Officer at Alembic Pharmaceuticals. Welcome to the show, Mr. Krishnan. Thank you so much for taking time out for us. Let me begin by asking you that how would you describe Alembic's overall performance this quarter?
Hi, thank you for having me on the call. And let me start with explaining the business performance for quarter two. We had reported a 16% growth year on year versus the previous year, same quarter. And I would say that this growth is balanced across all the businesses that we have. We delivered a 5% growth in the India branded business. We saw the US business grow at 16% year on year, and we also saw the ex-US business grow at about 32%. We also did see the API business getting back to the growth trajectory as well. And we are happy to see that this growth is coming from increased volumes in US as well as in the other markets, and also on the back of new launches that we have had in the US. And we expect this growth trajectory to continue into the second half of the financial year. However, I think last year second half we had a higher base, so the growth in the second half would get moderated to that extent. And like we guided in the past, we're confident of hitting the double-digit growth rate in this financial year for the full year.
Okay, so what would be the, what have been the growth drivers this quarter for the company across India and international markets, if you want to discuss about that?
Sure. So let me start with the international business, where we saw an overall growth of about 25% in generics business, and we also saw the API growth coming at about 15%. And when you look at the international markets, especially the US, we had few product launches during the quarter, and that supported the growth as well as increased volumes on existing products that we had seen. There was still price erosion to some extent, but we saw that the price erosion was slightly better than compared to the previous quarters. So I think it was predominantly volume-based growth and new launches that supported the growth for the second quarter. On API, again, we did see good volume growth, and of course, price erosion continued in API as well, but it seems to be better than the previous quarter when you look at the international business. Now, on the India business, what we saw was we delivered about a 5% growth in the India business, driven by the acute portfolio that we had, and we saw a resilient performance in the specialty business. And our focus on the India business is to strengthen the operational efficiencies and build productivity, improve the productivity in the field force. We have done several initiatives that we expect to bear the fruit in the next few quarters, and we're confident that we'll get back to industry level growth going forward.
How are you investing in complex generics and biosimilars going forward?
So we don't have a plain biosimilars yet, and our focus is on strengthening the portfolio across oral dosage, specialty products, and which includes injectables, optal, and derma as well. And our filings have improved compared to the past in injectables, and our focus is to strengthen the portfolio around the facilities that we have created. And if you look at the R&D spend that we have had of about close to 10% of revenue in the current quarter, I think we'll continue to spend that kind of make that kind of investments in R&D to strengthen our portfolio in across oral dosage and injectables and all that.
As you discussed about the US market, I would like to ask you, given the current situation in the US government and the overall pharmaceutical industry, what is your outlook on the US market and how are you planning to strengthen your presence out there?
So I think the situation is getting a bit clearer as compared to the previous quarter where we had a lot of headwind around the US tariffs. And now the generic seems to be exempt from the tariff positioning from US. So I think the way that we see the US market on, especially on the generics, is around predominantly high competition intensity. Hence, our focus is to drive more volumes, and also at the back end, we are focusing on cost improvement plans to support the price that we need to position in the market, and which is also helping us in improving the API sales by focusing on B2B, as well as helping us on better margins on the entire portfolio as well. So I think in as far as US is concerned, it will be new product launches that we had in the last quarter. We had about 3 launches. In the first half, we had about 6 to 7 launches, and we'll continue to have similar kind of launches in the second half as well. And that should help us bring growth from US apart from the improving volumes on existing products that we already have.
Mr. Krishna, let's talk about the acquisitions part out here. Are you planning further more acquisitions or mergers going forward? And if we talk about the utility therapeutics acquisition, how does it fit into the broader strategy of your company? And are you looking for such more opportunities?
So when we talk about utility therapeutics acquisition, it gets us into branded drugs in US, and that's pivoting us into a segment that we intend to have a active play in the near future. And it's one of a kind that we were able to have a acquisition in through the product called Pivya, and that specifically targets urinary tract infections, and which has a stable market in US. And we expect that to be a stepping stone into branded play within the US market. And as far as new acquisitions are concerned, I wish I could share more with you, but I think it's purely from a strategic perspective. It's going to be adding to the existing portfolio as well as building on what we have ventured into in terms of branded drugs. But I think we will get there at the right time.
Okay, well, what kind of areas are you looking at, and any new segments that you are targeting, which will see sort of focused growth going forward? And are you also exploring newer geographies and expansion into newer markets?
Yes, definitely. And if you look at the growth trajectory for Alembic Pharma in the last few years, we did have growth coming from US, and more importantly, the ex-US markets, focusing on Europe, Latin America, Australia, Canada. I think some of those markets have been contributing significantly for the growth. And we'll continue to focus on extending our portfolio in these markets as well as expanding geographies within Europe and rest of the Latin American countries. And I think that's a consistent strategy that we have been executing over the last few years, and we'll continue to do that. And this quarter, we did have a good contribution coming from the ROW markets, which helped us in growing about 32% year over year. And I think that the growth trajectory is expected to continue as we progress in extending and expanding the geographies.
Would you like to discuss your priorities over the next few quarters to sustain growth and profitability, and what is your company's outlook for the next few years?
So when you look at the next few quarters, we intend to continue the new product launches that we will have in US. Like I said, first half we had about 6 to 7 products. We'll continue to have new launches coming in the US, and we intend to look at more of balancing the portfolio across injectables, increasing the share of injectables over a period of time, and that is something that will help us not only improve the revenue growth as well as driving better margin profile within our business. And I think next few quarters we will continue to see R&D intensity at similar levels as we had in quarter one and quarter two, and that's more about the investments we have started making in injectable portfolio as well as in peptides. So that should help us drive the growth in the medium to long term.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
That was Mr. G. Krishnan talking about Alembic Pharma's future outlook. While we follow what's next with the company, you stay tuned to Business Today for more updates.